Lost Art of Fishing Stories, written by Andrew Cox. Get your copy today. Go to Amazon and search The Lost Art of Fishing Stories. The Lost Art Project, Veteran Voices with Andrew Cox. Preserving history, one veteran story at a time. Marine Corps League and Till Valhalla Project Ambassador. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that's given a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art Project, Veteran Voices with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Project, Veterans Voices. Today, we're going to have one heck of a veteran story, and I'm looking forward to it. But before we get into the episode, or you enjoying the podcast, make sure you go to the website. That's thelostart.podbean.com. Go check us out, see what we're all about. There's a couple ways you can help support us here at the podcast. You can always go in and click that one-time donation link. You can become a patron with a monthly donation. Heck, you could just go get you some cool gear. Or if you have a business, you can advertise right here on the podcast. Big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project, man. That's one amazing organizations. I highly encourage everyone to go check them out. Even if you've seen them before, go back and see them again. Incredible organization doing incredible things. You can find them at tillvalhallaproject.com. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps veteran service organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. All right, we're back here. I got Kurk Anderson. Hey, how you doing today, Kurk?
I'm doing just great.
Awesome.
Beautiful day.
I like that flag you got behind you there. That's always an awesome flag, I think.
We, my mother now lives in Texas.
Okay.
And we were out thrift store shopping with her, and my wife saw this flag along with many others. Said, "Yeah, I think you need that flag." I was like, "Yeah, I do."
It's perfect. I love it. Oh man. Well, hey, I'm glad you're here. I'm excited. So I guess we can just start at the beginning. Like, where did you grow up? What was that like? And then what drew you to military service?
Sure. I grew up in Wisconsin in a small manufacturing town, Fort Atkinson, just a little bit south of our capital, Madison. Mm-hmm. Really inside that town, both sets of grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and it was, I think it had less than 10,000 residents, and I think today it still has about 10,000 residents.
No kidding! Wow.
And it was kind of cool because I could ride my bike everywhere, visit people whenever I wanted. Saw my grandparents almost every weekend when we were around. A lot of hunting and fishing with my dad and my grandfather, and it was just a nice place to grow up. A little bit bigger than the town I'm living in now, but very much the same in the sense that you felt safe and you could go wherever you wanted to go and not really have to worry about anything.
Yeah, that's an important thing, I think, in life is, you got to feel safe and comfortable. Right. I don't know how people do it in big cities. I'm not a fan, but I don't know.
Yeah. I've lived in large cities through my service and never really enjoyed it. Always felt like I was looking over my shoulder. I'm going to skip ahead to on that very point. While I was still on active duty in the early 90s, I was stationed in New Orleans, working as an active duty guy for the headquarters of Marine Forces Reserve.
Right.
And I worked for a lieutenant colonel, very nice guy. Still stay in touch with him. He lives in Texas now. But, one day he's driving home from work and he said, all of the sudden, I have a red dot coming through my side window. and somebody had pulled a gun and was aiming
Whoa.
at his truck. Yeah. So I don't love big cities. Yeah. No, I don't care
There's
for that very
no
much.
telling what's going to happen in a big city. That's
Oh
all
my
I
gosh. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. In terms of going into the military, I had a lot of examples around me.
Mm-hmm.
I had 2 uncles and an aunt who all served in the Air Force. My father served in the Marine Corps and always told stories about the service.
Mm-hmm.
But as a young man in high school, 16 years old, I wasn't thinking about that at all.
Right.
Not even a little bit. I was thinking about going to college, what I
Yeah.
wanted to study, how I would pay for it. I was really pretty good academically.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to be involved with a lot of different stuff. So I was in plays, I was in choirs, I played sports, and
Nice. Okay.
not great at sports. Sports, I would say, was my least good thing that I did. And my dad and I were at the American Legion bar
Mm-hmm.
when I was 16 for the annual football banquet.
Okay.
And they gave out awards and all of that. And a
Right.
gentleman walked up to us and said, "Hey, my name is Wilbur Sant, and have you ever thought about attending the Naval Academy?"
Oh,
And
wow.
I said, "No." "What's that?" He said, "Well, have you ever seen the Army Navy football game?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, those are colleges." And I said, "Oh, okay." And he gave my dad and I a business card and a brochure.
Right.
And that was like in, I don't know, probably end of November, early December. And then in January, my dad said, "Hey, you going to do anything about that? That interest you?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "Why don't you go through it and, even apply? You can always say no,
Yeah.
if you have other options, but plenty of people in your life are going to close doors. Don't close doors now.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Open as
Good
many doors
advice.
as you can. And then if you need to close one, you can close it." And I
Mm-hmm.
said, "Oh, okay." Well, Wilbur was a Navy captain, reservist.
Okay.
He was not a Naval Academy guy, but he got involved and uh, encouraged me and helped me. Now, this is back when everything was snail mail and
Right.
carbon copies and all of that jazz. He encouraged me to apply to all the service schools.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
I applied to the Merchant Marine,
Mm-hmm.
Air Force, Army, Navy. I don't think I applied to Coast Guard, but I applied to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it in my head that I really wanted to study physics when I got to college. I had a
Okay.
great physics teacher in high school. Long story short, the Army's sending my football coach, request for film of me playing football. I'm like, what? Army sends me an appointment letter, and I was
Wow.
like, okay. West Point, that's fine. That's a good choice. But at the time, you could only major in military studies or general something.
Okay.
And the Naval Academy had specific majors.
Okay.
And
Yeah, that
on the
makes sense.
day that I had to have my response postmarked to the Army, I got an appointment to the Naval Academy.
Oh, wow.
That's how it worked out. I was like, what? Yeah, that's exactly how
Wow.
it worked out.
The day you were supposed to send it off is the day
Yep.
you got it.
Yep.
Wow.
And my backup plan was to go to the Merchant Marine Academy. And the only
Right.
reason that was less appealing is that I had to pay for some of that. I'd have to pay
Oh,
for room
right.
and board and uniforms. And so I knew that I was going to have to come up with some money to go there. But otherwise, it was a great choice. In fact, I tell kids who don't know what they want to do now, hey, always consider that, because you can
Yeah.
take a commission in any service once you graduate from the
Very
Merchant
cool.
Marine Academy. So
Wow.
that's how I ended up. That's how I ended up at the Naval Academy.
So what year did you end up at the Naval Academy?
I was sworn in on the 6th of July, 1979.
79. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and I
Wow.
graduated on the 25th of May, 1983, with Bachelor of Science. I majored in physics, but the academics caught up with me, and I didn't do quite well enough in my core physics classes for my diploma to actually say physics on it. But by
Right.
God, that's what I tell everybody. I studied physics while I was there.
I love it. I love
Oh
it.
my gosh.
Now tell us a little bit about your experience there at the Naval Academy. What was that like for you?
Yeah. My dad coached me a little bit, and he said,
Mhm.
hey, when you get there, just remember this is all a mental game. You're playing a game. It's,
Mhm.
think of it like chess or cards or whatever. You're playing a game, and they're going to try to, break you down to build you up, and don't let it bother you. Whatever's going on, don't let it freak you out.
Right.
And so the first day, I still remember the first day, we're sworn in, and the building that people live in there is a single building. It's called Bancroft Hall, 4 floors, student rooms in 6 wings,
Okay.
miles and miles and miles and miles of hallway. And they kind of tell you, this is your room number or something like that somewhere during the day. And they walked us around to pick up uniforms and books and stuff. All that's already in the room. And every time they took us to our room or left, we went a different direction, right? So they're trying to confuse you. So we're sworn in. My folks weren't there. Wilbur Sunt was there. I said, goodbye, Captain. Have a nice day. I'm going in. And I picked a door and started running. So you're going to be running in the hallways, up and down the stairs. You're sounding off to the folks who are running the show. They're all midshipmen. They're typically in their junior year, second class midshipmen, and some first class midshipmen, seniors. Hey, which way? Sir, I'm looking for this or whatever. Go this. You're in the wrong place. Go back down. Go back up. Whatever. They're giving bad directions. But once you get really close, then it worked. So I get into my room. I lay down on my rack, and I'm just laughing. I was laughing out loud. I thought that was just the best thing ever, and I thought, here we go. This is going to be a great time. And my roommate showed up, maybe 90 minutes after I did. It took me maybe 20 minutes to get to my room, and it took him another 90 minutes. He got in, he closed the door, he said, I am leaving here. I said, what are you talking about? This is just the beginning of the game. I mean, holy crap, come on. This is going to be fun. No, I'm done. I'm leaving. And sure enough, he forced his way out. He had to stay there for, I think, 6 weeks before they actually discharged
Let him go. Wow.
But yeah, that was my first experience. And then the other experience was I was pretty good in academics in high school. I was, I don't know, in the top 10 or so out of 250. And I thought, I really had it figured out until I started taking classes there. And I realized I had not a damn thing figured out, not anything.
Yeah.
I think my grade point the first semester was 1.9.
Oh, wow.
Like
okay.
I mean, I wasn't even close to having a C average. I didn't make good choices about the classes I took. The major I picked, there was nothing that was working for me. And if there was any stress or, me breaking down and getting on the phone with my dad and shedding a tear, it was over this whole business of realizing I didn't know anything about how to study or, anything. And, I was starting from scratch. And at the time, during those years, was really up to the individual to figure out, to solve the problem,
Right.
and make it work.
Mm-hmm.
They've added a lot of different resources now. If they send you a letter and say, hey, we want you at the school, they have every expectation you will graduate. Back then, the number of people who were sworn in were 1,450 with me, and
Wow.
we graduated 1066. So they built in an
Wow.
attrition rate that was pretty significant, and
Mm-hmm.
they knew it would be around the academic rigor. So,
Right.
now not so much. They've got it jacked up, and they bring in, pretty close to what they expect to graduate every year. So that's
Wow.
pretty cool. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, that was my biggest stressor, was figuring out how to get through the academics.
Yeah, it's funny because your biggest stressor, the other guy that was there with you, exact opposite stressors.
Exact opposite.
Yeah.
Exact opposite. And I had a great time. I mean, did I have a great time? The day I graduated, I looked back and said, man, that was totally worth everything I went through. People, I don't think folks really understand. It's different than enlisting or going to OCS and becoming an officer.
Right.
In this way, it's a leadership school. So you're learning about different ways to lead people from day one.
Right.
Direct examples from the midshipmen you're around, as well as in the coursework that you take.
Mm-hmm.
And then every summer you have some different experience where you get to do things that most people would never get to do. So I'll give you some examples.
Okay.
My first summer, after that initial summer, I go through 1 year of academics. My first summer, I'm sent to an LPD, a troop transport ship out of Little Creek, Virginia.
Okay.
And it went to sea for 6 weeks, and I was on it. And we went down and picked up Cuban refugees. People who of my age will remember very well all the Cuban boat people coming across the straits there. And I was filling the role of a junior enlisted person on that boat.
Okay.
So, chip paint and repair minor things and do whatever I was told, carry the trash, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Help carry stretchers from the bay, from the wet bay up to the deck, so that a helicopter could take, injured people or dehydrated people off back to Florida somewhere. Okay. So really, from that perspective, was a good experience. Then the following year, they had a couple of short courses, one on speaking, a couple of little things that they don't normally cover in the typical academic year. And then we spent a week in Quantico running around with Marines, and they actually set some stuff up just for midshipmen to experience, what goes on at Quantico. So we rode on tanks and shot weapons and that kind of stuff. We went down to Norfolk, and we spent a week on a guided missile cruiser, and we're given the opportunity. So here I am, young midshipman, doesn't know anything about anything, with a half a dozen other guys on the bridge of this cruiser, 700-foot long ship. Yeah. And the commanding officer says, well, we're going to practice some man overboard drills. Who wants to take the con? And I was like, sure. Wow. Well, I had come to love driving ships in the river, and that's another story. But I swung that big boat around and parked it right next to the buoy that they'd thrown over. No one else on that bridge would volunteer after I did that.
That's pretty impressive.
I had so much fun. Twin screws and all that. I was all over it. I really loved it.
Wow.
And then we spent a week in Groton, Connecticut, where we learned how to, we did, you're in a room with all the pipes leaking and you repair, stop leaks as if you were in a submarine. You put a bag over your head and you go up a tower of water as if you're, egressing from a submarine. Then they put us on a ballistic missile submarine and we went out to sea for a few days.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah. So skeleton crew and a bunch of midshipmen observing. I think I've got a picture somewhere of me sitting, driving the planes, down 2 degrees. No kidding. I mean,
wow.
Who when they are, 18 gets to do stuff like that.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
I mean, just the progression of the things I'm describing. Then we came back, we practiced, there was some practice stuff. We could practice ejecting out of a jet with a trainer. We flew, we got to take the sticks and fly. At the time there would have been normally we would have been a back seat like an F4 or something like that, but they'd had some problems with safety. So they put us up in some small Piper Cubs and we got to fly planes around the Annapolis area.
Wow.
So that was the second summer. And then the third summer before my senior year, my first class year, I ended up going out to 1st Marine Brigade in Hawaii.
Okay.
And now I'm filling the role of a junior officer. And I was the assistant to a platoon commander for a weapons platoon.
Wow.
And just had a wonderful experience with the Marines. So when I think about what you do at the Naval Academy, it's more than learning how to navigate by the stars and all the different ways to lead people and communicate, and getting to practice it in a safe environment where if you screw up, you're just, pissing off your classmates.
Yeah.
It's the totality of those experiences so that when you graduate, you make the best choice for you, coupled with the needs of the service, in terms of where you go and what you do. So it was,
that makes sense.
I mean, that component of it was fabulous.
Wow.
The one question most folks ask is, well, you love driving boats and, you're wearing a shirt that says USMC. So what the hell?
Yeah.
So
question.
that first summer when I told you I was on an LPD, the crew was a bunch of dirtbags. So this is, summer of 1980, a lot of drug use. We would walk through, so we didn't have any Marines embarked. So all the Marine quarters where you'd normally be full of Marines were empty. And I would, take walks through those spaces and, come across a bunch of sailors smoking pot or whatever.
Oh, wow. On the ship. Wow.
Yeah. Or they'd fall out for, I'm in a formation in the morning with their department heads and everyone's in a different uniform. Some obviously need a haircut. Some need a shave.
Right.
It was like, wow. I tried to talk to them. Nobody really wanted to talk to me except the chiefs, and they were fine. Fast forward 2 years, I'm in Hawaii, and I had, the platoon commander, a lieutenant, introduced me to the platoon. They were in formation. They were all in the same uniform. They were all looking sharp. And then we did some field exercises, and I had privates and lance corporals coming up to me going, "Hey, let me show you how this works. Have you ever seen one of these?" Nope. Well, let me show you how it works. And I thought, I can lead these guys.
Yeah.
These guys I can figure out. A lot of folks thought it was because my dad was a Marine or something. No, it wasn't because of that. If I'd had a different experience that first summer, I'm certain I'd have gone into the Navy. And I'd have been a surface Navy guy. Yeah.
Wow. Well, lucky for the Marine Corps.
Lucky for the Marine Corps. I agree.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So at that point, then once you you graduate, how does that work for you? Like transitioning to the Marine Corps?
Yeah. So when at the time that I was going, it's changed, but when I was going
Okay.
through, the first Tuesday in February was service selection day,
Okay.
and you literally lined the class up in class rank, which was a combination of grade point average. They had leadership scores on us. I don't know. There was a bunch of things that went into this business. And when your number was called, you walked into a set of offices and you walked up to the table for whatever it was you wanted to do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. At that time, the only prerequisites had to do with submarines. You had to have, I don't know if they had to take a test. I know they had to go through a separate interview if they wanted to be nuclear power, either
Oh, wow.
subs or surface nuclear.
Hmm.
But otherwise, you walked in and, hey, I want to be a Marine. Okay, well, sign your name here.
Wow.
That's how it went.
So that simple, man.
Yeah, it was that simple. I mean, if you wanted to be a pilot, you had to pass a flight physical before,
Yeah.
before that day. But it wasn't particularly complicated. And of course, because I like trouble, my roommate and I were in, you had to be in your uniform waiting. And I think my roommate was 751. I was 752 or something like that. We were low on the list. And we'd smuggled in a bottle of Jack Daniels. So we were drinking Jack Daniels and Coke.
Nice.
And suddenly the freshman, the fourth classman who was on watch, ran in, pounded on our door. Sir, they're calling your numbers. You need to be down there now. So off we went. And my roommate ended up being a Marine Corps pilot.
Oh, wow.
Flew
Okay.
F4s and then F-18s.
Dang. All right.
Yeah. And I went ground. And once I got to the way they did all the ground stuff in the Marine Corps was you went through Quantico. Then you made a short list of choices of what you wanted to do once you graduated from the basic school. And then they assigned.
Now you just went to the basic school.
Yep.
Is that right? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So all of whatever screening needed to be done, they said, okay, the Naval Academy has screened you.
Yeah.
You're wearing the uniform, off you go. So after service selection night, then we bought uniforms. Marine shop showed up at the campus and measured us, and I don't know who did the Navy uniforms, but everybody who was graduating got measured up for a full sea bag of everything, and had it all ready to go. It was in a box, ready to go the day we graduated.
No kidding.
Everything
Wow.
we would ever need. And the basic school was a primer on Marine Corps history, basic tactics, squad tactics, platoon tactics, company tactics. Every Marine a rifleman, so we all shot on the range. We all, bivouacked. We all practiced land navigation and day and night.
Right.
Those are the things that come to mind right off the top of my head. But they were just making sure that once we left there, we were prepared to look and act like Marines.
Right. And the basic school isn't like real stressful or anything.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
I would say no. It's more educational. There are certainly things you have to figure out and pass. Like, there were some guys in my platoon that, had to do land navigation several times or something like that. But no, stressful. No, you're already Marines. So that wasn't going to change. Off we went.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's how it rolls. They've changed the process a little bit now at the school, and I know because I still represent the school. I still interview kids who want to go to the Naval Academy.
Okay.
And now there's prereqs for a lot of different choices. Marine Corps, you got to do basically a mini platoon leaders course, 2 weeks, a couple of summers in a row, and adequately pass those to choose the Marine Corps. You still got to interview and take a test for subs, stuff like that. And now, instead of going through a door, you make a list, and I want to say the list is like 6 or 7 choices in list of priority, and then a panel of people review, your body of work at the school, and then tell you what service what you're going to be doing.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah.
So what you could put down your choices, but it's like anything in the military. You put down choices, you're not always going to get what you want.
I had a young man, really, really loved this guy. And his father was a West Point grad and wanted him to, I don't remember exactly what his dad wanted him. I think his dad wanted him to choose Marine Corps or something like that. And I think he had Marine ground, Marine air, a couple other things on surface warfare. The last choice on his list was submarines, and that's what he ended up on. Submarines.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you put it down anywhere, I imagine they're going to pick you for submarine.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes that process works really good. So at TBS for me, because I'd studied engineering, I thought, oh, you know what, I want to shoot artillery, or I want to be a combat engineer and build things and blow things up, or that kind of thing. And I filled out it was just three choices. Filled out my card, turned it in. Nope. Yeah, you got to pick at least one non-combat. MOS. Oh, okay. All right. So I went to the list, and I picked logistics.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Best choice of my life.
Yeah.
That was the best thing ever. I had several of my academy classmates and company mates at the basic school ended up in artillery, and ultimately, it didn't work out for them. They did a few years and they were done.
Wow.
But me, it gave me the opportunity to serve in division, wing, and FSSG or MLG.
Wow, got all 3. Yeah,
I served in all 3 of the major things, and I before I was on active duty through being an 03, through being a captain, and I served in all 3 areas at all different levels of command before I left active duty, and then I did it again as a reservist.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Best thing ever.
That's awesome. Well, tell me about, you get picked for logistics. I imagine there's a schoolhouse for logistics for officers.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I was able to choose when I graduated from the academy was what my first duty station would be.
Okay.
And I chose Camp Pendleton, and I ended up with 1st Marine Division.
Okay.
And so officers who show up who haven't been to school just end up in the G4, in the logistics division of the general staff.
Right.
And I was just putzing around. I mean, they didn't really have anything for us to do. But they were pulsing all of the commands about, who needed an 0402. And myself and the 2 other guys that were with me at the time, they weren't all Naval Academy guys. We got sent to different commands to be maintenance management officers.
Oh, wow.
So I went to 3rd Amtrak Battalion. One of my buddies went to an artillery battalion, and another one went to tank battalion. And we had to wait about 4 months, something like that, for our school to start.
Wow.
And the school was in Little Creek, Virginia.
Okay.
And it was broken into 3 parts. One was maintenance management. One was embarkation. What was the last one? There was another piece. I can't think of it right now.
And that was with EWTG,
Yeah.
the schoolhouse there. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it was learning all the paperwork, and then doing all the math, like how to load a plane and
Right.
balance
Yeah.
it. I mean, they taught us what a loadmaster would do to load a plane. They
Wow.
taught us how to load a ship, top to bottom, back to front,
Mm-hmm.
both a ship that would have embarked troops as well as a basic cargo ship. So
Wow.
it was a heavy math business,
Mm-hmm.
but it was 3 months at Little Creek, and then we came back and off we went. I was the maintenance management officer for 3rd Amtrak Battalion for the next year and a half. Had a great time.
Wow.
Wonderful mentors there. Wonderful people who pulled me under their wing and really laid the foundation for who I became as an officer over time.
Very nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, what were some of the, like, your memories of serving there? Like, what were some of the highlights for you?
Sure. So that battalion is still in the same place, Camp Del Mar. It's right on the southern end. Go jogging out the back gate onto the Oceanside Beach at lunch
Mhm.
and enjoy the view.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Just loved the weather. Best office I ever had. The building I was in is no longer there. They've redone the whole place, but my compatriot was a Chief Warrant Officer 2. Rick Denny was in charge of some of the maintenance supplies. So he's a
Uh-huh.
supply guy, and I shared an office.
Okay.
And our desks were side by side, and we could lean back. The window was right behind us. We could lean back, look out the window, and see the Pacific Ocean.
Whoa. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's nice.
yeah. Um, he taught me. Rick taught me a couple of lessons about how to manage the information. I had a
Hmm.
great staff NCO, great Staff Sergeant Hoffman, had a great staff NCO helping me. But Rick really, rolled up his sleeves. That's back when all of the information was in paper. You
Right.
picked up
Yeah.
paper every day and, a foot of it and went through it to figure out what was going on with the
Hmm.
repairs of the equipment, how to report to the commander what was good and what was bad and all of that. So
Right.
really learned a lot. And then his buddy, Chief Warrant Officer 3, Joe Piper, was the communications electronic maintenance guy, and some reason he liked me.
Okay.
And he would bring me, show me around, introduce me to his guys, how they did their work, all of that,
Hmm.
how they managed their paperwork. And then one day he said, "Hey, it was a Thursday afternoon. Hey, Kirk, can you come down?" It was like 1500 in the afternoon. "Kirk, can you come down here? We need to talk." "Sure." And I go in, and I get inside. All his guys are there. He closes the door and locks it, and they open up coolers, and everybody's having a beer.
Oh, nice.
And his lesson was, you can always give them time off, but you can't always take care of them. So take care of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. 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 That's good.
Or another example. Colonel Don Gressley, Lieutenant Colonel Don Gressley, was the battalion commander when I got there.
Hmm.
One day he said, "Hey, Kirk, I'm gonna take a walk. I'd like you to come along." And here I am. I've got my my issued green book. I'm ready to take notes. What do you want me to? Kirk,
Right.
just stop. Just follow me around. Pay attention. Listen to what's going on. I said, "Okay, boss, I can do that." And I had already made a name for myself because more than one staff meeting, it was principal and secondary staff. So I'm in this staff meeting. It's a hot, stuffy room with 20 men in it.
Yeah.
I
Oh, falling out in the
I'd
back.
already made a name for myself, but Colonel Gressley liked me. And so we walked around. We went into every maintenance office, every line company, and he would interact with the lance corporal or the private or the corporal.
Yeah.
Not the sergeants, not the staff sergeants. He'd go in and find some young man sitting at a desk going through the papers.
Yeah.
And he'd
Very cool.
grab a piece of paper out of a file cabinet or off a desk, and he'd say, hey, how do you know this is filled out right? Or it looks like there's this, how long are we going to have to wait for whatever part to come?
Yeah.
And sometimes they were like, this is what's going on, sir. And other times it was like, sir, I'll have to get back to you on that. I don't know. So we get to the end of the walk, and he said, so what'd you think of that? And I said, I cannot believe how much you know about maintenance management and maintenance records. And he laughed. He laughed in my face. He said, I don't know anything. He said, I just figured out intelligent questions to ask. And he said, every one of those Marines will remember it. Every one that didn't have an answer will track me down the next time I'm walking around out here and tell me the answer. He said, this is what leadership's about. It's about interacting with your folks. It's not about sitting in an office, sending an email or an edict or standing in formation, giving an order. It's about talking to the people who work with you and for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've actually, throughout my life, I've taught that lesson over and over. I've expanded on it because a lot of people, you tell them that lesson if they're working in business or manufacturing, they're like, well, what am I supposed to do? Well, let me give you some examples. Those are some of the, I'm sure there's others, but those are the foundational things that I remember working in that command. Yeah, it was great. It was just.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you had a fantastic first duty station. I mean,
I did. I had a great time, and Colonel Gressley moved on. His replacement and I don't know, we didn't get along, which was typical for my career. If I showed up, whoever was there usually built a great bridge, worked great with them. When their replacement came, if I was still there, it all went to crap. So I went to crap with Colonel Head, and I got a little, my nose out of joint. I'm a young man. My nose is out of joint. I wanted to take some time off to do a trip with my father. And he wouldn't let me go because there was going to be an inspection. And I said, if the inspection's going to fail because I'm not here, then I didn't do my job right. So you sure you don't want to let me go? Nope. So I stood the inspection, and then I called my monitor and said, yeah, time for me to go. How about Okinawa? Can you make that happen? He said, sure. Seems a little soon. I said, no, it's not. So I was on Camp Pendleton for 2 years, and then I was off to Okinawa.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And had you done any overseas travel or anything up to that point?
Nope. Up to that point, no. Hadn't been anywhere.
Okay. Wow.
But a couple of my friends had said, hey, you know what? We had a 5-year active duty obligation.
Okay.
And a couple of my friends said, hey, you know what? Before we move on, we ought to make sure we get overseas.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. So this was my opportunity. Colonel Head was very upset, but he got over it, and off I went. And I was transferred to 3rd Marine Division.
Okay.
Where I was a supply and maintenance inspector.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
I was on a team that went around every battalion in 3rd Marine Division and inspected their maintenance management stuff. So I got to meet some really amazing people. I still remember going to Regimental Commander's office, Colonel Van Riper. If you look up his name, his lineage and his family's lineage in the Marine Corps is crazy. Yeah. I swear his T-shirt was painted on his body. He was so sharp. And he had this huge portrait in his office. And I swear to God, it looked like him. It was obviously a different era uniform. It was like his grandfather.
Oh, no kidding.
as a
Wow.
general
Wow.
on the wall. But those are the kinds. I had so much fun running all over Okinawa, meeting all these different people, talking to all these folks in all these different maintenance capacities.
Right.
And really, that's where I got to learn how to teach. I'm
Okay.
teaching them, hey, well, here's what the order says, and here's how you interpret it, and here's why. I
Wow.
really had
Yeah.
a great time.
Yeah,
That
that's
year
awesome.
was one of my best.
So
Did
in that capacity, you're with the division staff?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
was part of the G4 division, and within the G4 division, I worked for a guy named Colonel Shea. And in that capacity, there was a team of like 3 of us. I mean, and we were all pretty young, wet behind the ear guys. I think the
Mhm.
most senior guy was a captain. And yeah, we'd schedule and bounce around, and then if
Yeah.
there were exercises that the division staff participated in, they'd throw us in, the Red Force or whatever.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So, did some exercises in neighboring islands. Did a team spirit in
Hmm.
Korea
Yeah.
while I was there. It was really fun. Um,
Wow.
did some deep water scuba diving. Uh,
Okay.
dove at night. Once again, stuff that most people will never do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was out there doing it.
Now, did you get to
And
go to many places like on your own?
well, around the island, yeah.
Mhm.
And I would run around with my buddies. I mean, there was a full contact football league on the island. I
Oh, yeah.
played football. Um, like I said, we scuba dove. I had a couple of
Mhm.
buddies we'd go diving. Um, what really happened though that changed my life was I had been there maybe 6 weeks,
Mhm.
maybe 6 weeks, and lieutenant colonel, we're in a like a 20 by 40 open office space with cubicle stuff set
Right.
up, and wasn't the main headquarters building, it was a secondary building. And lieutenant colonel in one corner and Lieutenant Anderson hid in the opposite end of the building. And he pokes his head up one day and he says, Anderson. I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound. I said, get over here. I was like, oh shit. I'm thinking I screwed up a report. I didn't, schedule something, whatever.
Right.
So I make my way over there, and he hands me the phone. He said, some woman is on the phone that wants to talk to you. I'm like, some woman? I'm going to make this a shorter story. It turns out it was a sister of a fellow I went to the Naval Academy with, who I had met a couple of times because I had gone to his house over a Thanksgiving, I think, or something.
Okay.
And she says, hey, it's Eileen. Oh, hi, Eileen. How are you doing? Yeah, why are you calling? What's going on? Well, my brother, who was also, he ended up being a Marine as well. He
Uh-huh.
flew. Yeah, my brother told me that you were going to be in Okinawa. And I want to let you know that myself and a couple of my friends were teaching English for a mission in Tokyo. And for our spring break, we're coming to Okinawa because one of our students owns a room at the Moon Beach Hotel. So we're going to
Wow.
be there a
Okay.
couple of weeks, and wanted to know if you wanted to get together and blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, I'll see what I can do. And I got the dates and where they were going to be and all that.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you know, that entire time that they were going to be on Okinawa, I was going to be in a dry riverbed in Korea doing Team Spirit,
Right.
right? And I'm standing. We get over there. We're set up. Going through the routine for a few days, and I was my friend, LDO Brad Johnson, captain. we're both doing the mid watch, and I was lamenting the fact that this girl was going to be on Okinawa, and here I am, and I'm the low man on the totem pole. I'm not getting out of here anytime soon.
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, did you talk to Colonel Shea about it?" I said, "I am not talking to the colonel. Lieutenant Anderson is not talking to the colonel about this."
Yeah.
Oh, come on. I said, "No." I said, "Just forget it." And so we met the colonel every day at about 6:30,
Yeah.
7 for a handoff. Hey, here's what happened in the exercise over the evening. It was always nothing. And then we'd go get a beer and go to hit the rack. And Johnson says, "Hey, Colonel, there's something you need to know." And Shea raises his eyebrow. "What is it now?" He said, "Yeah, Anderson's got these girls visiting Okinawa, and he needs to get back." And Shea just shook his head. He looked at me and he said, "Is that true?" And I'm sure I was the color of this shirt.
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah, it's true." And without batting an eye, he turned to his XO and said, "Get him on the first plane out of here. Get him out of here."
Wow.
So I get back to Okinawa. The staff never came back the whole time the girls were in Okinawa. And
Wow.
my wife, Paula, was one of the ladies who was there with Eileen.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah. So you say, well, did I get out and go anywhere? Well, I ended up going to mainland Japan, to Tokyo, and visited the ladies. So this was around Easter, so late March, when they were in Okinawa. So in June, I went up there and visited for a week.
Okay.
And got to know Paula and realized she lived in the Chicago area. And I had already planned on going back to the States in October for a week for a friend's wedding. A friend from California. And he was getting married in Kenosha, Wisconsin, so right near where she lived. And so I invited her to the wedding. She met my folks. So now we've had contact for like 3 weeks over the course of the year. I got back to Okinawa. I wrote her a letter and asked her to marry me.
No kidding. Wow.
And we got married. That was 39 years ago. And we've been married 38 years. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
So
congratulations
Okinawa
on
is a
that.
good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, a lot of people don't make it that long. So
yeah. No, and we're still having fun. We just
especially
we just
with 3 weeks of seeing each other, and then you're like, yep, that's the one. That's it.
Yeah. And we talk. I mean, when we were together, we talked about everything. But there's a lot of other nuance to that story we could talk about, but that would require a whole nother hour of visiting. I'd almost have to get her down here to tell that part of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had no idea. I mean, Eileen called me, so I'm chasing her, and whatever.
Yeah.
It all worked out. Here we are. So after Okinawa, my monitor said, "Okay, you've had, although they've been short, you've had 2 tours in the fleet. You need to pick somewhere else outside of the fleet. You can go to Barstow. You can go to Albany, right? I'm an 04, so. Or I've got this weird liaison job in Washington, D.C. I said, I'll go to Washington, D.C.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So for the next 3 years, and I was moving in the end of December, beginning of January. That's where my rotations kept falling.
Okay.
So I moved in January, mid-December, to Washington, D.C. I told Paula in advance. She matriculated at American University to work on her master's degree, and we went out there together. In the following year, in 1987, that's when we got married. We got married at the Naval Academy, and
very cool.
My job. So this is another one where I didn't love history. I wasn't really into history as a young man, and certainly not in college, and that didn't help me at all. But now I've got this job. Here, you ready for the title? Liaison, Marine Corps liaison to the U.S. Army and Joint Services Environmental Support Group.
Okay.
And we had some office space on K Street, about 4 blocks from the White House.
Oh, wow.
Right near the Roslyn Metro stop. And what we were doing, so this was 87, 88, and 89. Those were the 3 calendar years that we were there. And this was right when the VA started figuring out that, veterans actually had what we now know as PTSD.
Right. Yeah.
And so the military was trying to provide help with those evaluations.
Mm-hmm.
And they were also trying to provide help to Vietnam vets relative to Agent Orange stuff.
Oh, I see.
So I got to meet some of the epidemiologists who were doing studies on this stuff, which was fascinating in and of itself.
Wow.
At the time that I was there, the Marine Corps Museum was on the Washington Navy Yard, a few blocks from 8th and I.
Yeah.
And I showed up, and the nobody had been answering Marine Corps mail for, I think, over a year. So there was this big stack of requests for information. I can't imagine. I mean, even now, dealing with the VA, I wait forever for whatever it is I'm trying to do. I can't imagine these men and women back then going, really? I sent in a request for some information a year ago, and there's still no answer?
Not even a reply to say, hey, we have it or anything.
Right. It was all snail mail. And it would go like this. Open it up. I want information about Agent Orange. And they give me the years that they were there and what unit they were in.
Okay.
That's all they had to give me. And then we had, no kidding, photocopied maps with dots on them where different headquarters were when. And then we would take a highlighter and with an overlay, put where the tracks of Agent Orange had been sprayed.
Oh, wow.
And mail it back to them. That's all we had. That's what we did.
Wow.
If you were filing a request through the VA would send us the letter, or if you were just requesting information to support a potential PTSD claim,
right,
you filled out a letter and you said, here's what happened in combat. So there wasn't today there's kind of an assumption that if you were in combat, you're likely, if you're demonstrating issues, that you have PTSD. You don't have to say it was this thing that happened.
Right.
But back then you had to say, I was in a foxhole and my buddy AJ got shot in the head and died right next to me.
Right.
So during that time, I would get these letters that were usually handwritten, and you could see difficult for these folks to write. And I would take that letter and I'd go to the museum, and I don't know how it's evolved, but at the time, if you got the person's name reasonably correct, they actually have a card catalog with 3x5 or 4x6 cards. It's called, it's the death cards, and they're alphabetized. So I just go to AJ Cox. Okay, I go to the C's and look for Cox. Well, until I found something that was, and it would describe how that person died.
Wow.
Shot in the head, foxhole, whatever. Okay.
Oh, I see. Okay.
All right. So then I could confirm that and provide that information.
Right.
Sometimes it was more vague. All right, we're out on a patrol and, we got waxed and a bunch of guys died, and how I survived, I don't know. but it was about, May of '69, and I was with this unit. Well, then I'd go, they had a vault. I had a top secret clearance, so I'd go to the vault and I'd find the command chronologies that had been
Yeah.
submitted by the COs, and I'd start paging through it and reading their history.
Wow.
Here we are. All right. It wasn't May, it was June, and this unit went out, and 10 people came back out of 30 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I would redact it if it needed to be, make a photocopy of it, put it in an envelope, and send it to them.
Wow.
In I was just there 3 years, so 36 months. I think I answered close to 10,000 requests.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible, though.
It's crazy.
Now, how many of those, did you have to send back and say, hey, there's nothing here, or I don't have information?
Boy, I don't know. Not when it was a PTSD thing. There wasn't many that I would, maybe 10% where I found nothing, or, they were quoting, Full Metal Jacket or.
Oh, I see.
A lot of them would just sit down and write. I could read. I know some of those movies as well as the people who acted in them because I've read their dialogue so many times.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it wasn't particularly high, and I was surprised how many times they nailed it. They knew the guy's name, first name, last name, the year, and the month that he died.
That's awesome.
And boom, there it was. So it was real, and it obviously, affected them, and there I found them.
Yeah, man, that's incredible.
Yeah,
what an awesome job.
Like I said, it kind of got me figuring out history again a little bit differently. Than I had previously.
Definitely probably a very unique look at history, in that sense. Yeah.
Yes. And then, later on in my career, I was writing command chronologies for my boss. Yeah. So I kind of knew, what needed to go into them in order for them to be useful historical documents.
Right.
Right. I mean, there's a template and all of that, but, if you don't put, if something specific happens to an individual and you don't put their name in there, then it becomes, a morass later if somebody, has real issues and wants to point to something specific. Right. Then you ought to have the person's name in there.
Right.
So those kinds of things. Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah. I know that the command chronology stuff up there is absolutely incredible. I got to do a little tour of the history division up there, and the stuff that they have is just amazing.
Yeah.
Which
you get to go back, say, hey, I was talking to this knucklehead, and do you have death cards? Do you still maintain them?
Yeah.
But yeah, every single going back, I want to say to World War I. I swear to God, they had cards. A lot of them hand typed.
They still have to be there. I mean, they keep all that stuff.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Just fascinating.
And we're sending all these up to the history division, all these stories. So they're going to archive these stories up there.
Yeah, well, it was great doing that work. And then, of course, I managed to get to 8th and I while we were there. Like I said, I got married. I got a master's degree while we were there.
Oh, nice.
I mean, I was busy. We took a honeymoon while I was stationed there. And I was working with some great, I mean, some of the civilian employees were a little off, but most of them were really nice to work with. Stayed in touch with them for many years. I've lost touch with them now. But here's a couple of, once again, you got to think of the period of with which this is happening. The guys are always asking me, when are you going to the Navy Yard? I'm like, why do you care when I'm going to the Navy Yard, right? And one day are you going to the Navy Yard on Friday? Yeah, I plan on going on Friday. Oh, well, we're going to come along. I'm like, yeah, but you're doing Army stuff and Air Force stuff, and you want to come along? Yeah, we're coming along. Okay. Well, little did I know, the Chiefs Club had a major lunch thing that they did on Fridays, and they had topless ladies dancing on the bar.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm. So that was late 80s. That was still happening.
Very nice. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, another time, hey, let's go out to lunch. Okay, fine. And we're walking down K Street, and there's, a lot of little restaurants in these townhouses, right?
Yeah.
We go down one step. Hey, the sandwiches in here are great. You're going to love it. Okay, fine. And, the room was a small place with, maybe 20 little tables of 4. Everybody's sitting down eating lunch. Every wall was covered with mirrors, and ladies are dancing on poles.
Wow. Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you don't forget.
Yeah.
The other thing that happened during this tour that I think you'd appreciate is we got, somehow or another, these guys, long before I got there, got in tight with the military folks at the Australian embassy.
Okay.
And once a month, they would, do some kind of a buffet, Chinese buffet. They had some favorite Chinese restaurant. They'd take their pots down there and bring them back full of Chinese food. They'd have an open bar, all liquor from Australia. And then they'd get some guest speaker to talk about some, esoteric thing about national security or something.
Right.
And, we had an open invitation. So off we go once a month for lunch. That turned into, all afternoon. I got to like going there so much that I would help them clean up. And sometimes I wouldn't know when to get off the subway. But that was always a hoot to go up to the Australian embassy and hang out and
that's really cool.
Get to know those guys. Yeah, I think I still have a pin here somewhere in my jewelry box that says RSL, Return Services League, which is kind of like their American Legion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
wow.
So
that's really cool.
Yeah, DC was good dude.
Yeah, you made the best of it. So I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, everywhere that I ended up going, particularly after I got married, we really leveraged enjoying, where we were and what was going on.
Right.
So we leave DC. Paula's pregnant with our first child. Okay. And I get stationed in Yuma, Arizona.
Yeah.
So now I've had 2 tours with division. One at a using unit level, one at a headquarters level. I've been outside of the Fleet Marine Force doing this weird history thing. Now I'm going to the wing. And I ended up with a Marine Air Control Squadron.
Okay.
In Yuma. So for those watching this that don't know what an air control squadron does, if you think of it this way, air traffic control manages the space around the airport. And they set some boundary. I don't remember what it is. And then from the end of that boundary to the combat space, this is what these guys manage. Okay.
Makes sense.
So, pretty interesting. Big radar, ground-based radar that sees, long way to give direction to aircraft on where enemy aircraft are, if there's any missiles in the air and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, they have their own mission plans and they're going to go do whatever they're going to do. And we might, the guys that sat at the scopes, the lieutenants who sat at the scopes giving them information, may give them vectors or directions to safely get in and out of this space, combat space. But once they were there, they were doing their thing.
Right.
I showed up I'm a newly minted captain now, and meet the boss. And he says, God, I'm so glad you're here. We've needed, somebody with 0402 experience at the time, and it's still the case today. A lot of folks who are sitting in logistics seats were never trained. They're not 0402s.
Oh, wow.
And so they're kind of working by the seat of their pants and hoping that their staff and CO team is strong enough to do the math and figure it out and do the planning. So he was really excited. I was there a week or two. He calls me in his office. I got my notepad again, right? He said, Kirk, we're going to pick up from Yuma and we're going to take the whole unit to White Sands Missile Range, and we're going to camp out there for 2 weeks, and we're going to do some specific exercises. The Army's going to launch some kind of missiles and whatever. I said, oh, great, sir. He said, I need you to figure out an advance party, get over there, make sure everything's set up and ready for us to go when we get there. All right. I got my ready. All right. What else? That was it.
That was it.
Because up to this point, I'm not only being told what, I'm being told how most of the time.
Right. Yeah.
He said, no, you're a logistics officer, right? I said, yeah. You've been to school, right? Yeah. Well, you tell me how many people you're taking and when you're leaving. This is when we need to be running.
I love it.
My first lesson in trust.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Colonel John Garvin. Wonderful
Very
man.
nice.
Wonderful man. Very Christian, very religious guy to his roots. Never spoke an ill word about anybody.
Oh, wow.
He so I went back to my office kind of dumbfounded, and I grabbed I had a gunnery sergeant who was my logistics chief, another one who was my mess chief, and then I had a warrant officer work for me who was running utilities. So in this environment, you can imagine air conditioning and electric power was a big deal. And I got him in a room and I said, okay, guys, help me understand what the hell we got to do here. And, we came up with a plan, loaded all the equipment, left, got it all set up. One of the things we didn't plan on, and I think, the listeners will appreciate this. So we get to White Sands Missile Range. We're in some old buildings that we can live in.
Right.
We figure out, how food's going to happen and all of that kind of stuff. We run to Fort Bliss and we get some MWR stuff so we can show some movies or have something to do, off hours. But we didn't plan on who's going to stand watch on the Connex box full of weapons.
Right.
I mean, we're like, oh, crap. So I'm looking at my guys, and they said, well, if we've got shotgun shells, if we did a familiarization fire with the shotgun with a bunch of, the advance party, then we could set up a watch schedule. I said, all right. I don't think White Sands Missile Range is going to really like that. They said, no, probably not. So right out the side gate of where we were, it was not far.
Yeah.
It was a little gas station, had the best mesquite smoked meats I've ever had. The sandwiches were to die for.
Okay.
And Gunny Perry goes in there and he says, hey, you own this place? And the guy behind the counter said, yeah, why? He said, do you mind if we shoot some shotguns out back? Looks like you got plenty of land. The guy says, no, that's you. What are you doing? So we explained to him what we were going to do. He said, no, that's fine. Yeah, great. And keep buying them food, right?
Yeah.
So we round up, whatever. There was 20 of us, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody had to shoot, I don't know, 5 or 10 rounds. I forget what it was to meet the requirement. And we're all lined up out back, and we only had a couple of shotguns, so we're rotating around and just shooting, right? Different positions, kneeling, standing, whatever, from the hip. And the next thing we know, state police are there.
Oh, hey, no.
Oh, we're just doing a familiarization fire. The owner said we could be out here. Oh, he kind of rolled his eyes like, you effing Marines. No kidding. This is what this is about? Oh my God. So, we got her all figured out, and
that's awesome.
Everything went great. It was fun for me. I don't think I have a picture of it, but it's the first time. I don't know if you remember going on to military installations or in front of headquarters buildings where, it's a red board with the Eagle Globe and Anchor, and it says the name of the unit, and then people's names underneath it.
Yeah.
And I was I don't know how they list me, the camp commandant or something. So when the colonel got there, he's just laughing, he's rolling, and I'm like, oh my Jesus, really, guys? Thanks for nothing.
Yeah.
I think the other lesson that John Garvin taught me was this. When everybody got there, they said, basically, look, we've got beer on. We brought in a bunch of beer. We ate. He said, you guys can party tonight. We'll hit it hard tomorrow. Well, some of those young men really hit it hard. And they were in obvious pain. Some of them were sick the next day.
Yeah.
And I looked at the colonel's face, and he was in pain. It really hurt him to see his men in that kind of shape. It just bothered him. He didn't drink, and it just bothered him so much. I was like, ooh, now I kind of get the whole 2 beer limit and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, it was cool. And that was kind of the beginning of just a great relationship I had with him, learning how to be a good logistics officer, anticipate needs, planning ahead, that kind of thing.
Right.
Up to this point too, there was a lot of skills that I had learned that I never used. I mean, I was decent about the planning part, and I was good at the maintenance part. Right. But I never had any practice with moving things around. So this was my first time, trucks and moving stuff all over the place, and, into the desert, back from the desert a few times, right there in the Yuma area. Now I was there for 3.5 years. So there was 1990, 91, 92, 90, 91, 92. We left in May of 93.
Okay.
So we were there almost 3.5 years. While I was there, the Gulf War happened. And the wing commander took the MAX unit from Hawaii. MAX Deuce was in Hawaii. And he took them over because I think, frankly, it was closest to the AO. I think it was easier for him to move it. And so that happened. They moved in August that year, I think, maybe a little sooner. They flew, I think, most all of their equipment.
Oh, wow.
We put a detachment of our guys and equipment on a ship. So I actually loaded it on a train and sent it off to wherever, some port in LA, to get loaded on a ship. And everything was, good to go. There was still some angst about whether or not the CO, the wing commander, would want this MAX unit over there too. So it was on again, off again. I'm always telling my guys what's going on. Hey, this might happen. It might not happen. The boss doesn't know. It got so bad, though, that many of the other staff officers weren't sharing anything.
Oh, wow.
I got to be transparent. Otherwise, people are going to jump off a bridge. So I was being transparent. I had people from ops. I had people from admin. They're coming to me. Hey, what's going on with this? Oh. I mean, nothing was secret.
Yeah.
It's just they didn't want to answer the questions. I don't know what it was. It was kind of silly. In the beginning of December of that year, the CO and the sergeant major of Max Deuce were relieved for cause.
Ooh.
There was something with a woman Marine or something. I don't know what it was. These units had women in them. There was maybe a couple of, I think our unit had a couple of officers and a couple of staff NCOs that were ladies.
Okay.
And anyway, the CO said, we're going to, the wing commander said, we're going to war and I can't deal with this. So you guys are fired.
Wow.
And he called up my boss and said, John, I need you and your sergeant major to get over here and take over. And my boss said to him, well, sir, that's okay. But I don't know any of those guys. And we're getting ready to go to war. He said, so I want to bring my principal staff officers, and I want them to be able to bring at least one person with them that they trust.
Makes
and he
sense.
said, once we get there, whoever the senior is, they'll run that shop. So if show up and the ops guy there is a major and my ops guy is a captain, the captain will report to him. But then I'll have at least a little continuity, faces I know, people I trust. So I went, I grabbed the chief warrant officer who worked for me, my utilities guy. Their S4 was a first lieutenant, so he worked for me. And when we got there, they were set up in a soccer stadium quite a bit south of the Kuwaiti border.
Okay.
And as soon as we got there in mid-December, it was, we got to move this whole kabang up to a few clicks from the Kuwaiti border so that we're ready to go. He already obviously had a warning order about the air war. We didn't know anything about it.
Right.
So I hop in a Jeep or a Humvee with the OPSO, and we run up the road and turn west. There was already a hole in the fence, and we drove not real far, maybe 15 clicks west of the main road, which ran pretty close to the ocean, and then 15 clicks south of Kuwaiti border. So we were really pretty close. They picked a spot where the OPSO picked a spot where he thought the radars would work the best. And then I proceeded to lay out another part of my job that I never got to practice was figuring out the roads within the encampment, the edges of the encampment, where people would billet, where maintenance would be put together, where the mess hall would be, where we'd set up generator pits and all of that kind of jazz.
Like literally setting up the whole camp at this point.
It was build a city in the middle of the desert.
Right.
So, my great gunnery sergeants got on their horse and they went and tracked down some CB unit. And the next thing I knew, we had a bulldozer that we could use for however many. I think we had it for a week. We built berms. We created space for GP tents, for billeting, for ops spaces, pushed a little more sand up around where our generator pits were going to be and that kind of stuff.
Right.
They helped us hard back our tents. So we had wood structures under pretty much everything. Certainly the messing area, the maintenance areas. The CB showed up with cement. We had a cement floor in the mess hall, a cement floor in the maintenance space, so we could tear generators apart and put them back together. It was something. We ran comm wire between that steel dam comm wire between every
Yeah.
tent and hooch and whatever. It was all over the place.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
it was quite the something. And
Those are for the ones that you had to wind up and
yep,
make
the
the
ones you had
call.
to
Yeah.
wind up. Yeah.
I can't remember what they're called.
Yeah. And
But
because that was the easiest way to wake somebody up in a tent and get them to
yeah.
wherever they needed to be. And the story that I like to tell here is, we had to move. I think it turned into about 120 tractor trailer loads of stuff from where they had originally set up up to where we were going to go. Right. And then we had a bunch of rolling stock too, so that all had to get there. But in Saudi Arabia at that time, Saudis didn't drive trucks. They didn't work.
Right.
They had Filipinos and Indonesians that drove trucks. And many of them were, kind of on their own schedule. I mean, it was not uncommon to have a convoy going down the road. You put some of our guys in front, and in the back, you're trying to make sure that you keep the whole thing together. And somebody in the middle stops they decide it's time to eat lunch.
Wow.
Or a few of them stop and it's time to pray.
Yeah. Holy cow.
That happened it's a wonder we didn't lose stuff, but we didn't lose anything.
Wow.
We got it all there. We got it all set up. But oh my goodness, it was nuts, just nuts.
Wow.
Yeah. We were, to give you a sense of where we were in the desert, when the air campaign started, and later I found out one of my roommates was flying F-18s, dropping bombs on some of the tanks. I probably saw some of his bombs hit. Wow. We were close enough that if we got to the forward edge of our little encampment at night, particularly with night vision goggles, but often without, you could see the bombs striking.
No kidding. Wow.
Where the Iraqis had dug in their tanks. Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
It was crazy. And if we weren't up there trying to see what was going on, and we were back in our GP tent, several of the GP tents weren't hardback; they were just on poles. Right. The tent would start swaying.
No kidding.
Little dust would come off the center beam, and the tent would do this.
Wow.
As they were making their big runs.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. It's nuts.
So you were pretty close then,
Yeah. Yeah. It was something.
Wow.
We fortunately, I think of everybody that we had there, the couple hundred, we only medevaced one person, and that was, and you'll appreciate this as well. Guy broke his hand, so they medevaced him out, and he went back to the States to get fixed. They were like, "We're not dealing with a broken hand out here. Who knows how long it'll take to heal." Yeah. So I asked my utilities guy, my warrant officer. I said, Jim, what happened to this kid? How did he break his hand? And they were farting around, and he, so-and-so dropped a toolbox. Okay. I'm thinking, I don't think that's what happened. Well, later I got him to confess. One of his Marines got promoted to corporal while we were there in the desert. Right. And they ran him through a gauntlet, and everybody punched his arm, and this kid broke his hand punching him in the arm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's
the only guy we had to get, that had to leave. Corporal, I don't even remember his name. Broken hand. Attributed to maintenance. I was like, okay, Jim. Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Jim.
Oh, that's great.
Just it's that. I mean, the experience there. I mean, there were many people who were very scared running around me, but I was the cooler heads prevail. Everybody, let's remain calm here, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's overrunning us.
True.
It's the first time I experienced, the women Marines in our unit were very concerned that, if the place got overrun, they'd be, accosted, raped, whatever.
Right.
And, the boss, John Garvin came to me, he said, yeah, come up with an evacuation plan. And I said, sir, that's ridiculous. Yeah. He said, I know, Kirk, but they're not going to relax until you have an evacuation plan. So type something up. All right, boss, I'll type something up.
Wow.
So, yeah. Or there was a whole business about whether or not we could, who could see whose head in the shitter. We don't want to know if the ladies are in the shitter, so we'll cover it with camouflage netting. I mean, that kind of stuff just drove me crazy.
Wow.
Drove me absolutely bonkers.
The things that we worry about sometimes is
I
don't know.
Made no. There was just anyway. Had a good experience personally and professionally, and saw some things and did some things, like I said, that I never would have ever imagined that I would do.
Right.
I always considered myself a cold warrior, and there I am, out there doing this. Probably the other thing I'll talk about here real quick is leaving there. It's like, okay, what are we going to do? We're taking down these tents, what are we doing with the lumber, et cetera, et cetera. And word came down, well, we're not taking any of that with us. It's going to be too hard to clean it, or, whatever, too much chance of it, whatever. All right. I said, okay, fine. How about, what are we doing with the hardbacks? And he said, Kirk, tear this camp down and burn it in place.
Wow.
We had the biggest freaking bonfire.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any pictures, I'm afraid, but
wow.
we burned all the tonnage, all the hardback. Once we had everything loaded up and going, and he sent Max Deuce home along with most of the people that came over with us. It was myself, the CO, and the sergeant major. The three of us stayed. And I'm using a Humvee to pull a comm wire out of the ground. We are lighting the place up, and it was fires for a couple of days.
Wow.
Burned everything to the ground.
That's wild.
We had a dump. Started the dump on fire to burn as much of that up as we could. Nothing was to be left usable behind except ash. That's pretty much what we left behind was ash. It was something.
That's pretty wild.
To this day, it's one of those things I was like, damn, it wasn't like we took a lot of pictures, right? There was no cell phones.
Oh yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah.
But I have a few pictures from that time, and I sure wish I had a couple of pictures of us burning that camp down, because that was crazy. That was just,
what's funny is you think of back then, and they said burn everything down, don't leave anything here, and then fast forward to nowadays, it's we'll leave this, we'll leave that, and then
oh yeah,
we'll let them take this gear and that, and just whatever.
I mean, the biggest thing was leave nothing, and then getting all the. I mean, I think about what happened in Afghanistan. Hell, we didn't leave a water bottle behind. We didn't leave a jerry can. Nothing. It all went back on the ship.
Yeah, and it was all accounted for when you got home.
Yeah. Everybody. I mean, and if it wasn't there, somebody was head was real.
Right.
And then it was from there. It was down to an airport and back on a plane, and I think it took us 3 days to get back because we ended up on a C-17 Galaxy that had some major hydraulic problems. So it was Saudi Arabia to Spain to Maine to Nebraska to California, and we were days every time the damn bird went down. But we got home safe and sound. Everybody was home safe and sound, and
yeah.
Really,
now, did you being at Yuma when you got back? Like, was there any like big parades or anything like that happening there for you guys?
I remember there being people welcoming us when we landed in Maine. They were in the hangar. They obviously there was obviously a flow of big birds landing, whatever that air base was there. It's the one that I bring in our KIAs now. I don't remember the name.
Yeah, I don't know.
But and there was some at the airport that we landed in. I forget, Norton, I think. There was a little, people were there cheering and welcoming. But in Yuma itself, I don't remember there being anything.
Yeah, because I know there was when everybody was coming back from that, there's a lot of ticker tape parades and different things like that. So I was just wondering if there was anything, if you guys participated in anything like that.
Yuma's just a dust bowl. They grow citrus and stuff, but for the most part, it's just desert around there and not a lot of people. I mean, in the winter, a lot of snowbirds. The place like doubles or triples in size, but not a lot going on in Yuma. And no, I don't remember anything jumping out. I remember us, in formation a short time later, people getting awards for the work that they did and that kind of thing, which was very nice. But yeah. So we get back and, as I said earlier, John moved on. He took it. I think he got promoted to colonel. He took a job with the group, and another guy, Brad Turner, lieutenant colonel, jumped in. He had been a major, but he had been left behind as the XO to run the unit in the rear, so he didn't get to overseas, and we did not get along at all. Unfortunately. Looking back at it, it was really me. I had a chip on my shoulder too. And I wasn't having any of whatever he was dealing, and just kind of pissed me off when he accused me of not being a team player on some exercise or other, and I'm like, hey, you asked for options, I gave you options, I was honest about those options. Why are you telling me I'm not a team player? Well, you weren't trying to support my course of action the fullest extent possible, whatever. So, all right, fine. I understood it. In retrospect, I probably gave him too much attitude, and I didn't need to. I mean, it really was not. From there, I went to the group. I went to 4th FSSG as the assistant OPSO, as a captain.
Nice.
In charge of a big budget, making sure 10,000 Marines and sailors got their annual training every year. That kind of stuff. Went as well as could be. By then, we'd had Paul had given birth to our 2 sons in Yuma, and now we're in New Orleans. We were there about a year and a half. I was on active duty. I was passed over for major, and I got a little. I always had an attitude. So I got a little pissy about that, and I left. And at the time, they were offering some incentives for people to leave anyway. My MOS, they weren't giving any incentives unless you're passed over for promotion. So I was like, all right, well, screw you, Marine Corps. I'm out of here. Fortunately for me, I'd made some really good friends in the Marine Corps Reserve. And, a couple of them put their arm around me and said, all right, Kirk, calm down. Stay on active duty. You will get promoted. Just take a deep breath. And I said, they said, okay. They stopped trying to get me to do that. And they said, okay, let us know where you're going to land, and we'll make sure you have a job in the reserve.
Nice.
And so I went back and I said, I told a couple of the guys, I said, hey, I'm going to end up in the Quad Cities in Moline, Illinois. And the soon-to-be battalion commander said, well, you go hitch your wagon to the General Support Maintenance Company there, and you're going to be just fine. So he said, in a short time, I'll make you the CO.
Oh, wow.
Well, I left active duty on the 1st of September of 1994 and transferred right to the reserve.
Right.
I joined that unit in November, I think. And that same month, I was promoted to major.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah. It was like I was promoted ahead of some of my active duty peers. It just made no sense to me whatsoever. What just happened here? I don't understand.
And that was, so is it a different promotion track? Is that what it is?
Slightly. The boards are held separately.
Okay.
The boards are held separately, but it made no, and other friends of mine who transferred the reserve without submitting a package were promoted.
Wow.
So I don't know exactly how that went down. After that, it was always promotion board and submit a package and whatever, but not that time. I went on to be the company commander there. I worked with them for 3 years, had a great 3 years.
Now, was that, you were with the reserves, but was that full time or was that?
No, that was I was the reserve CO. So there was a instructor staff there who were active duty,
right?
Who kept the wheels on between the drills and the annual training.
Okay.
Who did the reporting and most of that stuff. I did some of that, but most of it was done by them.
Okay.
And the fellow who was there, who was in charge of maintenance, the active duty guy, was a Chief Warrant Officer 3 or 4, I think, Steve Hoffman. So this is in 1990, late 94, 95. Steve worked for me as my maintenance management chief at 3rd Amtrak Battalion in 1984.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So, we came full circle. And there we are again together working in this unit. And we did some really good stuff. I mean, when I got there, they were General Support Maintenance is to rebuild secondary repairables, rebuild engines, fuel pumps, water pumps, starters, that kind of stuff. And they weren't doing it because they didn't have anything to work on.
Oh, really? Wow.
So while I was there, we made a concerted effort to go to once the East Coast, once the West Coast for annual training duty, where we fell on our active duty counterpart and helped them clear backlog of work. And our guys learned so much, and we had some real experts. I mean, I had a diesel mechanic, a gunnery sergeant diesel mechanic, master sergeant diesel mechanic, who taught the active duty guys how to diagnose diesel engines. I mean, he could just sit there and listen to it and say, this is what's wrong with it. How do you know?
He's that good.
Listen for this. Listen. Put your hand here. You feel that vibration. That's what this is. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it was fun. It was really fun. And hundreds of repair orders finished in 2 weeks. Hundreds.
Wow.
On both coasts. And then I convinced them to send us some, which was a bigger hill to climb.
So taking it from the active duty component, sending it to you guys to fix
water pumps or whatever, and we'll repair them and send them back. The problem was that we needed to, almost split our drills and work more than one weekend a month.
Oh, right.
We tried it for a while. I don't think it sustained after I left. It was just very difficult. to get the turnaround that was needed,
Right.
to satisfy the demand.
Mm-hmm.
But at least the annual training stuff was good.
Yeah.
And we did some fun stuff too. Like Steve came to me one time and said, "Hey, we never go to the range. How about if I figure out a way for us to spend a weekend at Fort McCoy in Wisconsin, and we'll blow some stuff up and we'll shoot stuff?" And
Yeah.
sure, Steve, let's go. I mean, I still remember the weekend because we got to Fort McCoy and it's blizzard conditions, and we're blowing up Bangalore torpedoes and shooting machine guns, and all the Marines had a great time.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that was my first reserve stint.
So real quick, so what were you doing on the civilian side? Were you working?
So I got a job with Case IH, originally as a quality guy, and then as a line supervisor, and had I got into manufacturing. I really enjoyed manufacturing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I've told this many times too, if an officer has a chance, or a senior staff has a chance to go do a sabbatical and work in manufacturing for a while and then come back, they ought to do it.
Yeah.
Made me a much better, much more patient leader, made me a much better at listening.
Right.
From when I think about myself as a Marine leader.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Help me modulate my emotions rather than getting upset about something and, making decisions quickly or interacting inappropriately with a boss or whatever. It really leveled that out. And then on the business side, they're often caught in kind of overanalyzing things. So, us Marines at every level are trained to take in whatever information we have in the time that we've got and make a choice and go, right? And manufacturing folks tend to get caught up in all the what ifs, and they're basically afraid to make a mistake. And so I think I was successful in all the different jobs I had in the civilian side because of that. Wow. I spent 5 years with Case IH. I was with the General Sport Maintenance Company. I was their OPSO for a year, and then I was their CO for 2 years. So I was with them for 3 years. Okay. I took a break from my reserve duty. Frankly, I was only supposed to be there, a weekend a month and 2 weeks in the summer, but it was way more than that. Right. Because I took it very seriously. So I took some time off, and my wife finally said, "Okay, are you going to do some more of this reserve thing? Are you going to retire, or what are you doing? Because you're driving me crazy." So now we had 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. We're still in Yuma. We've been there about 4 years. And she says, "Yeah, you need to figure this out." So at the time, once again, no real computer anything. I called Kansas City, said, "What reserve jobs are available for a knucklehead Major 0402?" And I got a short list. Here, you can try calling these numbers. Okay. I called the first one on the list, Master Gunnery Sergeant Banner. This is me. I'm Major Lumpy Frats, and I'm a 0402, and I have this experience, and looks like you're looking for somebody, can I help? And he said, "Yeah, love to have you. You'd fit right in this organization. We need you for this exercise and that exercise." I was team spirit and ultra-focus lens. And, okay, great. I said, "Help me out. Where are you located?" "Oh, this is G4 Division, Marine Forces Pacific. We're on Oahu." Okay. So I went out for an exercise, and they liked me, and they brought me on as a IMA, Individual Mobilization Augmentee, which is a fancy way of saying he's a backup staff guy if we need him.
Okay.
And come to find out, nearly every position in that division had an IMA assigned, who would typically come out twice a year for 2 weeks, and they'd split the drills. So they'd put you on active duty for a week, and then you'd do drills for a week, and then you'd fly home, and you'd do that twice. So that's how you got enough points and got your quote unquote weekend drills, by doing it that way.
I see. You just did them all in one chunk, or
Yep.
well, 2 separate chunks.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they'd fly
Very
me
cool.
out for some active duty, and then I'd stay on. I'd delay my return to do the drills.
Right.
And then 9/11 happened while I was in this position.
Mm-hmm.
I got promoted to lieutenant colonel while I was there.
Okay.
9/11 happened, and in February of 2002, they didn't activate us, but they really strong-armed us to volunteer. We really need you to come, and we need you to come now. I don't believe it was involuntary orders. I could go back and look, but I'm pretty sure it was more, guys, we really got to have you. Really need you here. So I went on active duty from February through the end of October of 2002.
Okay.
And they made me a division head within the G4 division, resources division. I had, most of us were all reservists. All the active staff had moved to Bahrain, where they were doing active planning for war. And we were running the day-to-day thing and answering questions that they were asking. Hey, where's all the mobility matting in the Marine Corps? And where's all the temporary airfield stuff? Or how many fuel bladders do we have this side of the Mississippi that are, ready to use? Or questions like that.
Holy cow.
But, hiked every hiking trail in Oahu. I've been on it. Every one.
Very nice.
Every one.
Very nice.
I was never more fit. Family was here and I was there, and my buddies and I, we'd work out in the morning, we'd run at lunch, maybe work out in the afternoon or go for a hike.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was feeling good. I was, 40s and looking, really loved it.
Nice.
Didn't really get directly involved with anything that was happening in the theater of operations. For us, it was more managing the day-to-day information flow, a few global conference calls with other G4 divisions to talk about where assets were or what could be moved and that kind of thing. But I was just one of the guys. I worked for another reserve guy, Colonel Jackson. We were there for most of the year, and we were all kind of getting into this routine where we're not being asked to do a whole lot. Do you really need us? I mean, if you really need us and you have to force us to activate, you're kind of burning up, our time.
Right.
Do you want to keep us all here? And after some conversations at the general staff level, they decided that they would let anybody who had families or wanted to cut their orders short, because they were 1-year orders, to go. So I said, you know what? I've got a job. I've got wife and kids. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
My wife came out. Paula came out. We did a little vacation, visited a couple other islands.
Nice.
Went home. And then I reached my 3 years with them in November of 2002, and I said, okay, I'm going to go off and do something else.
Okay.
And I ended up back at 4th FSSG, now MLG.
Okay.
And from that point on, I was really one of their principal officers involved with exercises in Korea. Over the course of the next decade, I became a subject matter expert for operational logistics in that theater. The operational plans, working with the Army, all the ports and where things come and go. And I was taking teams of people to Korea for, couple weeks, couple times a year.
Wow.
At the end.
Well, I definitely want to be able to get into all that as well. Do you mind rescheduling another time?
No, that's fine. We can do that.
Okay.
You'll have to remind me where the hell we stopped, but yeah. Be
okay.
glad to.
Yeah. So after Hawaii, that's
yeah. We'll talk about what happened after I left Hawaii.
All right.
We'll back it up and we'll make sure we don't miss anything.
Yeah, it sounds good. Sounds good. Awesome, Kirk. Thanks for coming on and sharing. I can't wait to get the second part done. So yeah, it's going to be fantastic.
All right. Yeah.
Awesome.
No, like I told you, once I get going, right, I could tell way more stories than I've already told. But I'm trying to make sure I give you the ones that I think that at least to me meant the most. So.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. For sure.
All right.
But I got to tell you, you make my job easy. So thank you.
It's a pleasure.
All right. To all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, you need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA does have some great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255 or go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on the chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life loss is one too many. I care about you. I know Kirk cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you serve with, ask them how they're doing. If they need that helping hand, please give it to them. All right, Kirk, one last time, thank you. Much, much appreciated. To everybody out there, stay motivated, change your socks.
No more 22. Honor the journey and finish the fight.